Hey, my wonderful, lovely people. A pleasant morning to everybody. All right. I realize we live in a day and age where you can't correct people, you can't reprimand people, you can't. And I'm not talking about doing it in a disrespectful, humiliating, or obnoxious manner. I'm talking about doing it in love and love is respect is a component of love. So once I mention love, I'm really talking about respect. The Bible says if you correct a fool, he will hate you, but if you correct the wise, he will love you. Basically, tantamount to that. And one of the things that I never like to see is people making a mockery of people, especially if you're a leader, if you're known in the streets, in the society, if you're a popular individual, and if you want to represent a good cause. Now, we have two main incumbents for the upcoming general election, the Jamaica Labour Party and the People's National Party. And, as my mother always says, one horse cannot run a race. It will not be considered a race, you're just running. So the two of them, and you have supporters on both sides, and that will forever be. All right, and we need to accept that first and foremost. Not everyone will support JLP, not everyone will support PNP. Some will support the Jamaica Labour Party, some will support the People's National Party. You have to accept that. Good, now that we have cleared that. I'm seeing some things going around, even watching the news and seeing the different campaigns on both ends of the two major political parties. And I see something that bothers me a little bit. I understand, Paul says, I became all things unto all men that I may save some. So, for example, if Paul is going into the inner city, what he's really saying is that he will, come down to earth to their level in the sense of how he probably speaks with and to them, but not devoid of his authenticity, not devoid of his sincerity, and not devoid of being true to himself. So, for example, if you were to come in one of the garrison areas, one of the inner city, he doesn't have to speak the raw chop, very bland and, really raw patois, Creole, in order to communicate with them if that's not how he speaks. You know what I mean? He probably can chip a little patois here and there and chip in use a lot. What he's saying is that I will use a couple of the jargons that are cool and okay to use, that are clean. You know what I mean? Nothing that is unwholesome. And he will probably, don't dress too stoic and stiff where they say, Lord, I can't relate to this man. No. But it doesn't take away from his authenticity. He knows what his mission is. And I'm saying that in light of, Mark Golding's, different campaigns that he's been going on. I mean, he has changed his, I guess, kind of relax his dress code. And because the time is hard. Two, I guess he doesn't want to seem too straight and stiff because he wants to represent the masses. You know what I'm saying? But one of the things, because I'm seeing people going around saying that, hearing people saying he's wearing dirty clothes. And I see where one of the ministers saying how you don't want a leader to be representing us in the United Nations or at the United Nations, tapping a microphone and I say, yo, 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 yo. I didn't see that. So I guess, something like that really and truly happened. And I said to myself, it is an unfortunate situation. And one of the things, when you decide to take on the role of being a leader, especially leader of a country, some of the little idiosyncrasies, some of the little personal habits, unfortunately, it's like you have to put it at the back of the burner. You have to put it at the back bench because you now represent something that encompasses people and leading people. And I don't feel good. It's not funny, to be honest with you. And if they had done it, if the Prime Minister or current Prime Minister had done something like that and I see people making a mockery out of it, I would have still made a video of same. Because I'm not one, I don't believe in humiliating, embarrassing and mocking people. It's never a good thing. It affects their self-esteem, not because they're not coming out and crying to you, but some of them, they operate in different ways where they take it out. They abuse their bodies in different ways. Because the pressure is too much. The challenges they're too many, and sometimes they don't have a good outlet to deal with it effectively and efficiently. So, when and some of the things that I saw, I had made a video about, they chided Wilmington on his behavior, even trying to, get him to be charged, and then weeks later, something caught him, accidentally in a similar area and so on. And then, they're saying that they see him at places. And I see clippings of videos of him, and, he seems out of sorts. I don't know. I can't speak to what is happening or whatever it is. Could be that he's very tired. But I've not seen anything where he's wearing dirty clothes. I heard somebody saying that. I know sometimes people can be mischief making, or they use hyperbole, meaning they exaggerate things to make it look worse, far worse than what it is. I don't know. I didn't see that. I mean, and I understand that he wants to be able to communicate with the people. But I'm going to tell you this, Sir Golding, you sound very odd speaking the patois the way you're doing it. It's not a true representation of who you are. If you just speak standard English, just speak it. Try and be clear. I'm not saying that you can't come into a little of the patois, do it, balance it, but there may not be, your people may not be telling you, but it's not commensurate with who you are. Let me say it that way. It kind of not really fit you. It sounds odd and forced, and I understand that you're doing your best to try and communicate. And maybe you know what? They always say too many cooks spoil the broth, meaning maybe you have this one in your ear telling you have to come down, you have to do this, you have to do that. They're telling you that, your whoever is representing you, whoever is your consultant or whatever it is, but they need to, right, whoever is your consultant, but they need to be careful in, how do I put it? So you don't want, there's a scripture that says, don't let your good be evil spoken of. I know you mean well. You probably mean well when you say, let me speak the patois, let me try and talk like them, let me communicate with them, don't dress too stoic and stiff and aloof. If I speak the standard English, they may not understand me and so on. And I mean, you don't have to overpronounce words or enunciate certain things. You just kind of keep it easy. Just remain authentic, be you, be true, because what will happen if you do this, it will give a sense of a disingenuous nature, and they will think that you will be easily bamboozled if you were to become the leader of the country. You will be easily tricked and easily coaxed into the wrong way or in the wrong direction, because you couldn't even maintain your authentic self. We're Jamaicans, you know what I mean? I don't know if you were born here or born in the UK. I don't know. I don't really follow a lot of these things. But you have been in the country for a long time. So you're Jamaican at heart, no matter what they probably want to say. But one of the things that I will encourage you to do is that you be the authentic you. Don't, as I said, don't let your good be evil spoken of. Because I said to myself, you know what, one of the things, when I see somebody getting mocked and mocked and mocked, I don't like it. I don't join in with the masses. I think differently. That is why I'm not a die-hearted this or die-hearted that. I'm always for the MP that works. I'm always for the one that does a good job, because they mean well for the people. And ultimately, it's about the people and for the people and by the people and building up our country. You know what I'm saying? And these are the things that leave lasting legacies. These are the things that will, create changes in wholesome ways for the country. So it doesn't matter whether it was you or the Prime Minister or this person or that person. When I see people kind of mocking people and you're seeing it going around and around, my heart will come, my heart I become compassionate. And I said, boy, I run the risk because, one of the problems, is that a lot of Jamaicans, they're not emotionally intelligent, unfortunately. The IQ is kind of low. It's subpar. So they will hear this and feel that you're against the individual, you're against the person. I don't know you personally for me to be against you. I'm not against people. I may be against the ways of people, I may not like the ways of people and so on. I try to check my heart because I too am not perfect. I too have flaws and so on. But I would prefer you speak what the Jamaicans call the Queen's English, standard English, on your campaigns. Don't I mean, you can say a little thing. You remember some years ago when Barack came and him said, "Wow, go on Jamaica, big up you." It sounded funny, but and then he just continued regularly. That was nice. You can intermittently do it, but don't let your good be evil spoken of. Just be the authentic you, guys. You know what to do. Read TikTok and YouTube. Subscribe. Give me one of those